A £60 million spending spree last episode still wasn't enough to stop a rotten start to our Premier League campaign, but with our European adventure about to begin, I think it's time for some of these players to step up when it matters most. Now, after the arrival of the much-anticipated £30 million signing Diamachi Kamada, and the highly regarded attacking prowess of Terran Moffi, plus the switch away from this defensively exposed 3-4-2-1 formation over to an attack-minded but more balanced 4-2-2-2, I really thought we had all the ingredients put together for us to really kick on ahead of this new season, but as you can see, judging by the goal-scoring stats with Terran Moffi only scoring once, and Dominic Solanke's striking partner also scoring once. 2 goals scored in our opening 2 Premier League games clearly is not good enough, with us sitting now down in 15th place with just 1 point to our name, and with the board having high expectations on my shoulders this season, expecting us to finish in a Europa League spot. I think some big questions need to be asked about the performances of some of these players. Now, to be fair, starting the season off against the likes of Aston Villa and Arsenal, 2 teams that are flying high in the Premier League in real life, is a start that I'm sure any team in England would struggle with. But looking at the ratings of my players, with pretty much all of them now being at least in the 80 bracket, surely it's got to be a little bit something more than just the quality of players that I've got at my disposal. And I've got to be honest, I am struggling with this new setup. I do want to give it time because it has only been 2 games, but with me removing Anderson from my defence, it has left the likes of Mark Gay and Willian Pacho exposed. And whilst Terran Moffi and Dominic Solanke are the only 2 players who've scored for me so far this season, with them only scoring 1 goal apiece, 1 in each game, the attacking prowess between the 2 of them and connection hasn't really clicked so far. Despite him being my highest rated player in the entire squad, Diamachi Kamada hasn't exactly hit the ground running with only a 6.35 rating in his opening 2 Premier League games. It seems like Fabio Vieira hasn't been able to pick up where he left off at the back end of last season, instead starting off exactly as he started in season 1 with an absolute horror show, really not performing at a particularly good level with no goals and no assists either. And as for Raksaki, it seems like the steam that he ran out of at the back end of last season hasn't been able to replenish itself. Another poor start for the season for this young man. Let's hope that the 3 of them can suddenly regain some form of form as quickly as possible. As I said, it has only been 2 games, so I do want to give this setup a little bit more time, but if things continue the way they are, I may have to consider going back to where it all started for Crystal Palace, restoring Anderson at the back and restoring him as my captain, putting 3 in the centre, and then making sure that I'm defensively solid. And while some might say, with a week still left remaining in the summer transfer window and £35 million still left to play with, some might say now is a good opportunity to try and add 1 more player to the ever-growing ranks here at Crystal Palace. But I'm really conscious as we progress through the first half of the season and then eventually head into the January transfer window, if I spend all of my remaining budget and nothing seems to change with the level of performances from the players, it will leave me with absolutely nothing left to try and make some form of change in the second half of the season. So I think at the moment, despite all of these array of talent that I can potentially choose from on my shortlist, I'm going to hold fire for the moment. I'm going to continue to put my faith in the players that I've got here at Crystal Palace Football Club and keep my faith in this tactical setup in the hope that eventually it will come good for us. However, on top of that, it looks like I might have some other problems elsewhere, with my reluctance to break up the partnership of Decore and Adam Wharton at the heart of my midfield, and with the new arrival of Archie Gray, who's just shunted himself into my 3rd choice central midfield. The 29-year-old 78 rated Jefferson Lerma is not happy one bit. He's come knocking on my door wanting to know, whilst he's not getting the opportunities that he feels like he deserves, I've just got to try and keep him sweet at the moment, as squad discontent along with this shocking start is certainly not what I need here at the beginning of season 2. He will get a chance though to impress in the Carabao Cup as we look to start our defence of the trophy we won last season, beating Derby County 4-2. And hopefully, with momentum now back on our side, courtesy of our first win of the season, it's time to make our first travels away from Selhurst Park this season as we head to Stamford Bridge for what is going to be an incredibly tough test against a high-flying Chelsea team. It's going to be a big ask for these Crystal Palace players to lift their heads and to try and claim their first 3 points of the season, but what an important moment it would be if we could do just that here in the capital. The Hutchinson for Chelsea into Nicholas Jackson, tries to skip away from the challenge of Adam Wharton. He's done a really good job of doing so, and now he tries to make his way to the edge of the penalty area. Lovely footwork to get past 2 players into Hutchinson again, forces Henderson into his first save of the game. Shaky start. Well, it looks like we've picked up exactly where we left off against Aston Villa at the back end of episode 1. Really poor start as Fabio Vieira just hacks that away. Anywhere will do. Munoz, the right back, is the highest man up the field, and he's doing absolutely everything he can to try and win the ball back, but doesn't able to in the end. Lavia, though, takes it away from Kamada, and it just goes out for a throw. George into Chukwuemeka. He lines up a shot from distance, straight into the arms of Henderson again, but there's a couple of half chances for Chelsea early doors here. Mark Gay floats it across the left-hand side. It's intercepted by Hutchinson. This has been a really poor start from Crystal Palace here in the opening 15 minutes. Tyrick Mitchell frantically tries to come across to try and get the challenge in. He does just that, and now, with Chelsea out of position, can we try and counter? No, we can't. Kamada loses it in a dangerous position, and once again, they fire away from distance, and Henderson is equal to it. Well, they've had some half chances. They've all been from outside of the box, but surely it's only a matter of time before they do make their way into my box, just like this. Chukwuemeka has it now, inside to Hutchinson, out to Okuchukwu outside the penalty area. He's trying to see if he can find an option. Eventually, we just about managed to clear our lines. Dominic Solanke now has it. He's looking for the run on the right-hand side of Fabio Vieira, and this is our first opportunity to try and stretch our legs down this side. He's got an option in the box here. If he can find Terry Moffat, who hits it down, forces the goalkeeper into in his first save of the game. End-to-end stuff here at Stamford Bridge to kick off this opening 25 minutes, and now finally we have the chance to score. Solanke almost gets his head on it, doesn't make a clean connection, falls out to Gay though. It's hacked away by Reece James. Nicholas Jackson out to George. Nicholas Jackson will get it back from him though and tries to burst forward here. He's got an option of Maatsen on the left hand side. He finds the left back. He's going to try and see if he can drive past Munoz here. Does get past him. Back into the Chelsea midfielder, and he absolutely smashes it against the post. Another big let off here for Crystal Palace. Fabio Vieira into Adam Wharton. Adam Wharton looking for the run of Dominic Solanke. Finds the run of Dominic Solanke, and he's turned away from the defender. Dominic Solanke into the box. Surely looking for the cutback. Finds the cutback into Decore. Gets his strike all wrong. Well, this game is really starting to pick up here. Both teams looking likely to score every single time they go forward. Defences are not exactly holding firm or inspiring any sort of confidence in the rest of the teams here as Reece James just goes past Tyrick Mitchell like he's not even there, and now Mark Gay comes across, doesn't do a good enough job either. Reece James going all the way here, strikes it with his left, and Dean Henderson makes a bit of a hash of that. Eventually Pacho was in the right place at the right time to clear his lines, but yeah, shaky start here from both teams defensively. Fabio Vieira tries to dink it across to Munoz on the right-hand side, who keeps hold of it. Munoz looking for the overlapping run, finds the run of Fabio Vieira into Dominic Solanke, and this time the Englishman gets his second of the campaign, and he gets Crystal Palace's first of the game right on the stroke of half-time. Well, what an incisive counter-attack, end-to-end stuff here from our penalty area all the way into their box, and Dominic Solanke is not going to miss from there. A fine finish. The keeper had no chance, just too much power and precision on it. Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 0. We start off this second half in the perfect position, the perfect time to score right on the stroke of half time, and I'm sure that would have altered the kind of team talk that Pochettino was planning to give, but let's see what impact it has on the rest of the second half here as Chelsea intercept the ball in a dangerous area. Nicholas Jackson gets it back, ends up going back into his own half, but then gives it back to another Chelsea man, out to Maatsen on the left hand side. Vieira tries to come across, doesn't challenge well enough. That's a lovely ball through into George down this left hand side, right on the edge of the box here, does the dummy pass. Munoz does the dummy pass. Gay strikes from Nicholas Jackson, and in the end he just drags it wide. Big let off once again for Palace, opened up at the back, and are we just lacking that leadership that Anderson offers us at the moment? It was a bold call to start my two young centre-backs in his place and to drop him to the bench, and at the moment it doesn't look like it's panning out too well for us, but we've got it once again. Tyrick Mitchell into the box here. Reece James intercepts well though. We're pressing the goalkeeper. He just about manages to boot that one clear. So Kamada now down this left-hand side once again. This game's really starting to open up, and the young man is driving through here. What options has he got in the box? He hasn't got the pace to just continue his run. Instead plays it back to Wharton on the volley. My word, that would have been an audacious strike if he had pulled that one off, but in the end it doesn't come to anything, but we do keep hold of the ball. Moffey into Kamada, strikes with his left straight at the goalkeeper and makes another bit of a hash of that, and eventually Chelsea clear their lines. Over into Hutchinson Central. Chelsea looking to try and see if they can unlock my defence here, who are desperately searching for our first clean sheet of the season. Pacho wins it well and gives it to Decore in the centre of the park. Can he try and release Kamada? He does release Kamada. What options has he got up ahead of him? Finds the run of Moffey. Moffey in the box. Moffey to strike. Moffey to score, and both of my strikers have got onto the score sheet here today, and they have doubled our lead here. It's 2-0 Crystal Palace. It's another incisive counter-attack. Kamada gets his first assist in the Premier League this season, and Moffey is not going to miss from there. It's his second goal in 3 Premier League appearances, and is that striking combination finally starting to click? Hutchinson into Nicholas Jackson. Chelsea going to try and see if they can turn this game around with about just under 10 minutes remaining plus stoppage time on the clock. Nicholas Jackson into Christopher Nkunku. We've got to try and hold firm here. George back into Nkunku. Strikes from distance, blocked. Chelsea corner. Well, we must hold firm. We cannot let Chelsea back into this game. Otherwise, with just about 5 minutes remaining on the clock, we will really be on the edge. And that is exactly the sort of goalkeeping you want to see from your number one. Fabio Vieira has it once again. Goes out wide to Munoz on the right-hand side. The right back to burst down this right-hand side. Can he try and throw the ball in? He does. Too close to the goalkeeper though. But it doesn't matter one bit, because those Chelsea players look shell-shocked. They cannot quite believe, after the blistering start that they made in the opening 20 minutes, that they've let this game slip away from them. As a full-time era finishes, Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 2. That is an absolutely massive win in the context of things this season. Dean Henderson will be absolutely delighted to get his first clean sheet. Finally, Mark Gay and William Pacho looked like they were starting to form a decent partnership at the back. But most importantly is that attacking connection between Dominic Solanke and Terry Moffey starting starting to come good. They're the only two players who've scored for me so far in the Premier League with 2 goals apiece, and hopefully it's going to turn into a real competition between the two of them as to who can come out on top. It's the first time this season that I felt comfortable with this 4-2-2-2 formation, and it's the first time this season that we've been able to claw our way up to the top after the table. 3 games in, 8th place, 4 points on the board. But after following up with a couple more games, a 1-1 draw at home against Brentford, and another 1-1 draw, this time away from home against Wolves, just when I thought things were starting to come together, back-to-back draws put a halt on our climb up the Premier League table. It seems like Fabio Vieira's Crystal Palace struggles continue this season. He really hasn't been able to recapture that fine form that he ended season 1 in, with 5 games played so far, absolutely no goals to his name. It really hasn't been the start that he was hoping for this season. But with our European adventure about to begin and being drawn in a pretty favourable group that I put us as favourites to top, I am really hoping that in front of the Crystal Palace fans we can put on an absolute clinic here today, put an absolute beating down on the competition to regain our confidence, not just on the pitch but in front of goal as well, and to give those fringe players an opportunity to stake a claim in the starting 11. Because as you will see, there are several changes to my usual starting team. Lotka comes in for his European debut here for Crystal Palace. Kyle Walker-Peters starts on the right. Anderson, of course, comes back in, partnered by Richards at the back with Merlin at the left side. Lerma and Archie Gray will start in midfield. Fabio Vieira does keep his place. I'm hoping to try and play his way into form with Raksaki partnering him. And of course, Mateta and Dominic Solanke will start up front. One thing I realised I haven't done as we begin this game is actually change the kit of the opposition. And already I'm struggling here to make sure that I'm passing to the correct players. As you will see, gave a really sloppy ball away. And now I've gone and given away a really sloppy foul as well in a very dangerous position. Alexic is going to be the man who's going to step up and take this. They're looking for a dummy. Are they going to go for goal here? They look for goal from distance, plays it over. Kyle Walker-Peters into Archie Gray. Archie Gray weaves away from a challenge, really nicely done, into Dominic Solanke. Solanke out to Vieira on the right-hand side. This is his opportunity to finally get on the score sheet so far this season. Tries to play it into the on-rushing midfielder. Couldn't quite reach him though, and they bring it away once again. It's Omar Ali on the right-hand side. I apologise in advance if I mispronounce a lot of these players' names. Most of them I have never heard of before, and I've never heard of this team before, which will make it all the more embarrassing that we're giving away such soft chances at the moment. Archie Gray round the corner into Kyle Walker-Peters. Walker-Peters into Solanke. One touch ball into Fabio Vieira. Gets it back. That is poor from Fabio Vieira, and that is symptomatic and evidence of his really poor start of the season. Nothing seems to be going right for the young Portuguese. Into Kemen. Kemen's blocked off by Lerma though, and now Mateta has it, rolls the challenge of the defender, can't roll two, and they get it away again. We're really struggling. It's been real kind of bitty performance so far. We're really unable to string any sort of passes together as Anderson's beaten there. Perhaps a little bit of lack of match practice for the big man at the back, as Turic now into Alexic. Alexic off the post. My word, we are living life on the edge here. Well, this has been a really, really poor start here from Crystal Palace. Gray knocks it over to Vieira on the right-hand side. He is going to cut back in, but goes back out to the right-hand side to Kyle Walker-Peters. The first time ball into the box. It's just a little volley down right into the path of the goalkeeper. Cool, calm, composed defending there. So it's Richards once again. Into Mateta, round the corner into Raksaki. Raksaki across, into Fabio Vieira, and it's a first-time volley with his weaker foot, and my word, what a fantastic finish. Well, has he just answered the critics with an absolutely sublime goal. Lovely ball in from Raksaki, and he took that so well. The side of his right foot just almost passed it into the back of the net. The keeper had no chance. He just ghosted into the penalty area right on the spot. Absolutely no one marking him. That is a wonderful goal. 1-0 Crystal Palace. It's Leonardo being chased down by Mateta, and have we suddenly got our confidence back here as we're pressing them high to try and see if we can win it back? But they've gone and beaten that press, and now they've got the chance to try and see if they can fight back here with a lovely ball through the channel into Pietic. He strikes from distance. That is a fabulous finish. They've levelled it up right on the stroke of half-time. Well, I thought he still had loads to do from that distance. He's about 25 yards out. That is a brilliant strike. Could the goalkeeper have done more there? You could argue he could, but my word, he just buried it right into the bottom left-hand corner. That was absolutely brilliant. 1-1. Well, that is not the way we wanted to end the first half. After really working hard to try and get ourselves in the lead, but it's pretty much evidence of how sloppy we've been at the start of Season 2. We've been really poor in every single department. How much longer is this going to continue? There's Gurla now out on the right-hand side. Kyle Walker-Peters with a thumping challenge. That's exactly what I want to see from the right-back. He gives it to Fabio Vieira, the goal scorer, who brings it forward. What options can he find up ahead of him? Jefferson Lerma now. Lerma's going to try and dink this one over to Raksaki on the left-hand side. Really nice ball. Raksaki, he's got Fabio Vieira on the other post here. Can he find him? No, he can't. It's headed clear. It's Merlin. Skips away away from a good challenge and drives his way right into the final third here. Over to Raksaki, dinks it across, looking for Dominic Solanke. Couldn't quite find him. Will the Englishman get there? No, he won't. He's headed clear, but only out as far as Jefferson Lerma. Much better here from Crystal Palace. Sustained pressure as Kyle Walker-Peters plays it into Archie Gray. Out to Lerma. Lerma has options. Finds an option in Merlin on the left-hand side. He finds Raksaki, weaving, turning, trying to find space here. Finds Jefferson Lerma, lines it up with his left, drags it wide. So it's Lima now to bring it forward down this left-hand side. Bursts into the box. They've got another chance here. Lotka, my word, just about manages to get his hand on it. They can't believe it. That was a huge opportunity to go 2-1 up, and they didn't take it, but they've still got a corner here for their troubles. They play it short. They've got it once again. They go all the way out. Is this something straight from the training ground that I've got to be careful of? They play it back in, but Raksaki wins it back, and now he's got space to run into here. Can he try and see if he can beat that press? He's going all alone here. Doesn't have any options in the end. Just runs out of space. Aetic out wide to the left midfielder and Davidson. Davidson has options in the box, throws it in. Richards heads it clear. Good header away. Raksaki now into Mateta. Mateta looking for the run of Moffey. Moffey is going to try and see if he can run the channel here. Can he get there ahead of the defender? Bar gets there first. It's Richards into Raksaki. Raksaki into Mateta. Mateta turns away from a couple of challenges. He's got an option of Kyle Walker-Peters on the right-hand side. If he can find him, he can. First time ball into the box. Looking for Moffey. Headed away. Crystal Palace corner. And it turns out you can see the disappointed looks on the players on the pitch as the game comes to an abrupt end. And in a game we would be expected to win, we can only eke out a 1-1 draw at full time. Well, I think there's going to have to be an inquest into the performances here at Crystal Palace. Struggling in the beginning of our Premier League campaign, struggling with our start to life in the Europa Conference League, and really struggling to find the back of the net when it really matters. But big managers have to make bold decisions, and that is why this 4-2-2-2 experiment is being cut short early. Now, the obvious answer would be to return back to the system that worked so well for us at the beginning of last season, but with me bringing in the likes of Terry Moffey, who's had a fairly decent start to life in Crystal Palace Girls with 3 goals in 6 appearances, and with me bringing in the big money signing Diachi Kamada, I have to find room in my team for those types of players. So instead I'm going to try and switch to something that's a little bit different and perhaps a hybrid of the two. This 5-2-1-2 formation will allow me to bring Anderson back into his rightful spot at the heart of my defence. It allows the likes of Tarek Mitchell and Daniel Munoz to go back to being those flying wing backs that they were so successful in doing at the beginning of last season. I can keep Decore and Adam Wharton in that midfield partnership. Plus, it also allows me to retain the striking partnership of Terry Moffey and Dominic Solanke. But it leaves me with a burning question as to who is going to fill that central attacking midfield position. Raksaki has been a little bit off the boil over the course of the last 6 months, and it could be argued that he's not done enough to deserve a starting spot. Fabio Vieira hasn't been able to translate that fabulous form at the back end of Season 1 to the start of Season 2. And whilst it could be argued that Diachi Kamada hasn't exactly set Selhurst Park alight here with just 2 goals and 2 assists in his opening 7 games, it's kind of hard for me to turn to the board and drop a player whom they spent so much money on in the summer. And out of all the options I've got, he seems to be the one that's performing at the best level. So Kamada will be the man to get the nod in that central attacking midfield spot. And now it's time to see what sort of impact our 4th formation change in this career mode is going to have, and whether or not it can bring us some success at the start of Season 2. And it seems like good things come to those who take action, because a 4-1 thumping of Leicester City in our very next game is exactly the sort of return to form that this team so desperately needed. And with a high-flying Spurs being the next team that we're going to be facing away from home, I think it's the perfect time to put all these changes to the test. If the Chelsea game is anything to go by, it seems like that we performed quite well on our travels this season, and we've got to hope in front of the travelling fans we can put on another clinic here today. It's the first opportunity for me to see this new formation in action, and as you can see, this is what the starting 11 looked like. Henderson in goal, Gay, Anderson and Pacho return to that formidable back line with Mitchell and Munoz, of course, on the right and left hand side. Wharton, Decore and Kamada in the middle with Solanke and Moffey up front. But it's Tottenham who are going to have a free kick here in the opening few minutes of the game, and it's one that they take short to a Stupinian, the former Brighton man. Lovely little turn and flick away from the challenge there, and it's another one, but this time Pacho full of confidence again, but then goes and loses it in a dangerous position. I was just about to say how much confidence he has, but it is that man Anderson, of course, the rock at the back, who comes across, challenges really well, and then brings the ball out of defence. Look at the surging run down the right hand side. What options does he have up ahead of him? He finds Dominic Solanke. He can't go anywhere though, and just like that, we are up against it once again. End-to-end stuff here at the beginning in the opening 10 minutes here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as they play it through. Maddison comes across, but Pacho, he is back. Pacho in the right place at the right time. It seems like he prefers playing in that 3. He seems like he's got so much more confidence and precision. He's got the ball, and now he clears his lines away. Tyreek Mitchell down the left-hand side into Moffey. Moffey into Kamada. Kamada's going to look to try and float it back over to Moffey. He does. Moffey has managed to stay on side here. Moffey into the box. What options does he have? Play it across, looking for Dominic Solanke. Couldn't quite find him, but it's been a good start so far for Crystal Palace. Maddison for Spurs. Blocked off by Decore. We've won it back. Full of confidence once again. Kamada into Solanke. Forces the keeper into a save. Well, allowing Kamada to be slap bang in the centre rather than him drifting off to the left-hand side seems to be working already. Lovely little ball through. Could Solanke have done more there? Just tried to curl it around the goalkeeper with his weaker foot, but Vicario was equal to it. And it's going to be Wharton who's going to take the resulting corner. Floats it in. Looking for the header. Pacho just loops it over him, but Munoz will get onto the loose ball. Back out to Wharton. First time ball across the box into Moffey. What a big save once again. Well, we're knocking at the door here under the lights in the rain-soaked North London as we try and see if we can open the deadlock here. It falls to Pacho. Hits it back across. Looks for Moffey. Chests it down, but Vicario is equal to it once again. Good start from the Spurs goalkeeper. Gashari now for Spurs. Out to Pedro Porro on the right-hand side. Decore is going to try and come across to cover that space, but Kulusevski gets it back. Gashari is blocked off by Mark Gay. Having that extra man at the back is proving to be pivotal as we try and see if we can get away here. But it was a really good interception as we were away. If that had gone through, Estupinian tries to come across. In the end, we challenge really poorly there from the central attacking midfielder, Kamada, and we give a free kick away in a really dangerous spot. Son doesn't try and float it into the box, instead takes it short to Estupinian, but Mark Gay, full of confidence, my word, wins it back high. And look at this, the centre-back is bursting forward down this right-hand side. What options has he got in the box? Continues his run, looks to loop it across, looks for Moffey. What a head, what a save again. Every single time we go forward, we look like we're going to score, but we're thwarted by the Italian in between the sticks for Spurs. It's thrown back in. This time it's Dragosin who heads it clear, but Kamada tries to get the head. Vicario is like an absolute wall. How many opportunities does one team need? But already I feel so much more confident. I'm playing with so much more freedom. These players know their roles and they're just picking their spots here with aplomb. Anderson takes it on with the edge of the box, strikes it, blocked off though. Vicario with an unlikely header away, and we keep hold of the ball. It's out to Wharton, but Basuma this time blocks. Spurs eventually do clear their lines. Heung-min Son down the left-hand side, right on the stroke of half-time here, into the box. He's still got the chance. It's a good save from Henderson. Well, it might still be 0-0 here as we begin the second half, but defensively I just feel so much more solid. It seems like these players have so much more confidence, and going forward it just feels so free-flowing every single time we go forward. If it wasn't for the absolute phenomenal performance so far of Vicario for Spurs, I feel like I'm going to score every single time I get into their final third. Moffey has it though once again, plays it into Solanke. Lovely ball, Solanke. My goodness, Vicario is incredible. It's Wharton once again with a corner. I've lost count of how many we've had so far. Throws it into the penalty spot, looking for a ball in, can't quite find one. Wharton will head it down though, back into Kamada. Kamada tries to play it through, but he's just bundled away. Spurs clear their lines, but once again we win it back. Really good defending, pressing high. Tyreek Mitchell now to try and burst down this left-hand side. Can he feed a ball across the box? He does. Looking for Solanke with the head. Vicario is equal to it yet again. Tyreek Mitchell on the left-hand side, into Moffey. Moffey's going to try and see if he can use that pace to burst past Pedro Porro. He's done just that, but cuts back inside. Looks for the ball into Kamada. Kamada to dink it back in. Looks for Dominic Solanke, looking to try and loop it over Vicario, and this time the Italian makes it easy. So it's Munoz now. Lovely little touch and turn away from Estupinian. Looks to play it central, does play it central. Lovely little touch from Wharton. He just can't get on the end of that one. That would have been a sublime goal if it had come off. Heung-min Son to try and burst down this left-hand side. He's blocked off by Mark Gay though. Lovely ball from Basuma into Maddison. Spurs now have their first opportunity here in the second half. Maddison, lovely little flick back into the path of Heung-min Son. Gets it back from him. Henderson comes out, falls into the striker Ivan, and Spurs take a much undeserved lead, it must be said. Well, we've absolutely battered Spurs from pillar to post, but this is what happens when you don't take your chances. Eventually, with the quality Spurs have at their disposal, they will carve one out, and they've done just that. Ivan smashes it into an empty net. Look how frustrated I am. 1-0. Mitchell weaves away from a sliding challenge from Kulusevski, I think that was, and plays it into the centre. Looks for Moffey. Moffey with a lovely touch and turn into Solanke. Solanke into the box, unselfish, across to Kamada, and Kamada scores, and that is exactly what the doctor ordered. A fabulous response to going 1-0 down. Well, goals in this game have been like buses, so hard to come by, but when they do, two come at once. Absolutely lovely, incisive play. Moffey, Solanke, and Kamada all combining brilliantly, and Dominic Solanke showing just how unselfish that play was. Kamada slides it into an empty net. 1-1. Adam Wharton now into Solanke. Have we finally got our tails back up here as Solanke driving run to the edge of the penalty area, plays it into Moffey. Moffey across to Kamada. He's blocked off by the defenders, and it rebounds away, and we get a corner. And it's one that the substitute Jefferson Lerma is going to take. He's going to try and see if he can float this one into the penalty spot. Looking for the big man up front, Moffey. Couldn't quite find him. Gray will take it on though. Passes it back out to Lerma. We've got a second bite of the cherry here. He looks for Mark Gay on the edge of the box. Anderson, the centre-back, lines it up and strikes from distance, drags it wide. James Maddison for Spurs. We are deep into stoppage time here. Is a miracle about to happen for one of these two teams to claim a dramatic 3 points as we've gone and won it back in a really good position. Solanke now into Moffey. This is the chance. Moffey takes it on with his left. Vicario is equal to it once again. Look at this man. Look at the celebrations. He has been an absolute monster in between the sticks for Spurs here today. Let's check the replay out. I thought that was about to nestle into the bottom right-hand corner. Moffey did absolutely everything he could. Perfect placement, but Vicario once again outstanding. But this is it, the last chance of the game. Jefferson Lerma to take the corner, floats it into the penalty spot, looks for Moffey, headed clear, only out as far as Gray, knocks it down to Jefferson Lerma, floats it back in. It's Yolinta, the former Newcastle man, who gets it. Moffey across, looks for a ball in, can't quite find it, and the referee blows for full time. Well, it's not the result we wanted, but the performance was absolutely sensational from start to finish. If it was not for the heroics of Vicario in between the sticks for Spurs, it could have been an absolute battering here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I guess it's just a shame that today it ends 1-1. Well, as I said, heroics, there is no other way to describe that performance. And whilst, as I said, the result wasn't exactly what we wanted, I think I can take so many positives from the performance. Having this man Henderson back in my defence seemed to just inspire confidence in the likes of Mark A and Willian Pacho. I felt like Kamada had his best performance so far this season in a Crystal Palace shirt, getting a goal for his troubles and almost getting an assist. And Dominic Solanke and Terry Moffey will be scratching their heads as to how they didn't quite find the back of the net here today. But judging by their performance, I think our questions have been answered as to which setup is the one for us moving forward. But as for today, that is going to be it for the episode. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you did enjoy it as much as I did, and I'll see you again next time.